a lot of times we think of these people as not even like human, right? They're like, oh yeah, I mean, they did that, they must have had access to all this. But then when you go and meet these people, when I was sitting in a room with these people, I was like, wait, you know what, these are just humans like
Right,
myself.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
They have the same amount of time as me, and if they're able to do all this, there's no reason why I can't either.
Yeah.
Right. So there are days where I wake up and then I just work 14, 15 hours a day, and then I just sleep. Yeah, Jess Lee, she's a partner at Sequoia. She sold her company for 200 million. I presented in front of Rolf Botha. I think he was the ex-CFO with Elon Musk of PayPal.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Tech Founders. This is our first episode. So we have our special guest, Adam. He's building an amazing company called LIfomation, where I'll let you explain it.
Oh, thank you for the introduction. Yes, I'm glad to be here. I'm building LIfomation. I'll kind of go over what it is quickly. So LIfomation is basically an amalgamation of two words, life and information. And it's a platform that aims to help families and individuals store important personal information in one spot that is very secure, private, and easy to access.
That's awesome. So what made you start LIfomation? Like, where'd you come up with the idea, you know?
So this is actually an interesting story. It kind of goes back to 2014, and my father works in the IT space, and he initially had this idea of, or he noticed a problem where people are not able to access important information like wills and stuff, your driver's license, your passports, all of that stuff is very scattered. And also think back to 10 years, a lot of this stuff was not online, was not digitized. Yeah. And so he came up with the initial prototype back in 2014. And we actually moved from India to Canada to kind of promote this app. And what ended up happening is, unfortunately, due to our financial circumstances, he had to take up a job and support our family. And that he's kept LIfomation alive as an app ever since. Really? But it hasn't really gained traction. We haven't been able to market it, all of that. Yeah. And plus, the thing is, developing something in 2014, especially in the tech space that evolves so fast, it's something that in today's day and age, you would kind of look at it and be like, oh, this looks very old, very obsolete. And so the motivation for me in LIfomation is I see with all the new AI features and stuff, with the capabilities like natural language processing and all of these things, we're able to incorporate these features into LIfomation and make it an app that not only is very secure and very helpful, but something that can be given to a wide range of people and actually make a difference in their lives. And so I'm kind of carrying on my father's legacy through this app.
That's awesome. I didn't know your father started it. That's new information to me. Let's introduce ourselves so that way you guys know who we are. So I'm Aman Ali. I'm in computer science at UTSC, and this is we already introduced you, Adam, and you're studying computer science.
That's correct. Right? I'm actually specializing in computer science, and I'm doing a major in statistics as well.
Okay, awesome. Tell me about yourself. Like, what got you into entrepreneurship in the first place? I'm guessing it was a huge part of it was your dad, right?
That would definitely played an aspect, like 100%. But I'd say a lot of it also I'd attribute to my mother. Mm-hmm. And so let me give you a little bit of backstory into this. My mother used to work for a payment processing company. So when we moved to Canada in 2016, she took up a job where she was it was door-to-door sales for point of sale terminals. So, when you go to a convenience store and you have to tap on the machine, that's kind of what she was providing. Unfortunately, that business, they had really bad business practices. And so she would tell the businesses something, and then on the back end, when they actually had to fulfill the product, they would kind of put some other numbers in, and a lot of, they'd kind of scam people out of money. And so to those businesses, my mother's the face of, the company, right, of those. And so they would attribute that cheating and stuff to my mother, and my mother would not be able to sleep at night because she's like, I'm a moral person and this is not something that I want for myself. And so she left that company, and now she has started she kind of wanted to start her own thing. So it's called Maplebit Services, and I joined her very early on, and this is going back, I think, to first year or even grade 12 is initially when I joined that. And ever since then, I've been a big that's been a big part of my life. Yeah. I've gone to a lot of client meetings and door-to-door sales, business to business. That's kind of what sparked my entrepreneurial spirit, seeing the passion, seeing the capabilities and all that, like that's possible being in this space. And, also for me, I've worked a lot of jobs in the past. Ever since I was young, I've done, I used to host like chess instructional classes in my community. And then I've done door-to-door lawn aeration services. I've worked in a, in a food help shop, kind of in Quebec in a summer program. I've worked in a call center. I've done a lot of like different jobs all over the years. And I found that what brings me the most joy is kind of working for myself. Even if I'm working harder, the fact that I'm able to dictate the terms myself is something that's very appealing to me. And so that's kind of why I'm into entrepreneurship, and like I see LIfomation as the next big thing.
I see. It's amazing. So what's motivating you? Because, bro, entrepreneurship, it's a lot of work. It's, I think Elon Musk said, starting a company, a lot of people see it as like a very fun thing to do. But in reality, it's like staring into the abyss and chewing glass. And I think that's really powerful because, like, that's in reality, like, the uncertainty with how your business is going to do it is kind of like staring into the abyss. And chewing glass is like all the responsibilities, all the stress. Every single day, the whole company relies on you. You have to wake up, go to work, and so despite that being said, does that scare you? Like, what is driving you towards putting that on yourself?
Good question. So let me preface this by saying I've always been very much into self-improvement. And so if there's any aspect of my life where I think I'm lacking, I will try my best to overcome that and be the best version of myself possible, be that fitness, just knowledge in general. If I'm interested in, let's say, philosophy, that was a big thing I was interested in. And so I put so much time into that. Anything I do, I want to do very well.
Yeah.
And so I see entrepreneurship as kind of like the final level to that, because it's like the final level of self-improvement, because it's like exactly like you said, it's us pushing ourselves to be the best version of ourselves. There's so much responsibility on you as a person, and to wake up every single day and not have a plan laid out for you, because that's your typical 9 to 5, right? You have someone who tells you, okay, this is what you're going to do, this is what you have planned for the day. All of that is laid out for you. And entrepreneurship is something where you get to make the plan for yourself, not only for yourself, but for your team, to make sure that all of that is going ahead. And I think that it is a big task to do, but I welcome challenges. Another thing is, I was watching this episode with Chris Williamson and David Goggins, and I think he brought up a Nietzsche quote, which I really resonate with. And I'm going to butcher this, but basically the gist was that there's no better life purpose than to perish in trying to achieve and attempt the impossible. And so that has been something that I've kind of taken up and try to emulate that in my real life. And so setting big goals with LIfomation, kind of building that to the next big thing, is something that kind of I think everyone sees as impossible, to build $1 billion startup and all of that. But I think that's kind of what also fuels me, is that because it's impossible, it's something that I want to strive towards.
Yeah. Nah, I feel the same way, man. You're at UofT, top institute in the world. Comp-sci is pretty demanding too. How do you manage the workload? Like balancing that, your startup, school, you probably will have a social life too. Like, how do you manage all these things, right?
Yeah, it is tough at times. I won't lie. And there are days where I wake up and then I just work 14, 15 hours a day, and then I just sleep. And then I do that for days. But it's important to have an algorithm in a sense, so that you know how to tackle these issues. So there's one thing that I've implemented in my life. That's an Ali Abdaal video. He kind of has this 3-step method to schedule your day. And so I've been using that. I plan out my goals for the quarter, and then I plan out for the week based on those goals, and then after that I plan out each day. And so a lot of it is about prioritizing at the end of the day what is important to me right now. And so sometimes that might be school. School has honestly, academics for me, has taken a back step over the last couple of years, because I'm so much more passionate about entrepreneurship and all of that. And so a lot of it comes down to what you prioritize in your life. And I think it's also about because I'm young right now and I have so much more time in my life, I'm able to prioritize and put energy towards things that really matter.
Let's go back to LIfomation a little bit. how'd you come up with the name? Because it's a very, very interesting name, and I know it has to do with like family and like I guess setting your life around a certain thing. But like, where did that come from?
Right. So, like I mentioned before, LIfomation is like the amalgamation of life and information.
Yeah.
And so, since we're trying to have a platform where essentially families and individuals can put all their life's information in one easy to access spot,
Yeah.
that's kind of what drives the name for LIfomation. Yeah.
Have you ever considered? Because one of the things with LIfomation is that there's a lot of security concerns, right? Have you ever thought of this is something that like I was talking to my mom about your startup, and she said that she would probably use it if there was more security attached to the name.
Yeah.
You know, like if it was like cyber security, something like security life, something like that. Because LIfomation doesn't have security, like especially as a startup where, you know, you're just starting, there's not many people that will trust you. Wouldn't that be a good idea, you'd say, or no?
Definitely something that I'm considering actively. To be honest, that's not the first place I've heard that. I've heard that from someone else as well.
Yeah.
And so it is something that I'm considering. So far, we've just had LIfomation as a name because it kind of summarizes what the product is.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is about like going out and A/B testing what actually makes sense. And so if we find that changing our name to incorporate some of those secure things is more likely to have people buy or like use our product, then we're open to changing that. I mean, you have companies as big as Facebook changing it to Meta, so I don't think like we're in the initial stages, not a big deal at all. But on the topic of security, actually, I've talked to hundreds of people at this point about the product, and every single one, 99% basically, mentioned security as like their primary concern.
Yeah.
And so how we go about tackling that is very important to us. It's actually at the forefront of as we're developing the product. And so since we want people to kind of put their important life information in one spot, we need to ensure that it's the most secure thing possible, right? And let me give you an example. When you upload anything online, if it's Google Drive or if it's WhatsApp or stuff, you kind of inherently trust them, right?
Yeah.
Because they're a big
They're a
conglomerate. You're
billion-dollar
like,
company.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
not something that you think twice about doing.
Yeah.
Another thing is that 30% of the cloud is kind of hosted on AWS. Like a lot of these big companies, their entire backend is on AWS, right? It's the same thing for us. We meet the same privacy standards, GDPR, CPPA here in Canada. All of these standards, we comply with them. And it's the same that these big companies are held to as well. One of the biggest challenges in promoting LIfomation is being able to convince people that, yes, we are secure. Yes, we are, like our product is using the same technology, the same security, same backend as the other big conglomerates that you're used to and you trust.
Is it the same or is it more?
Well, that is interesting. So right now, we are getting it to that level. Of course, getting to that level is still, it's kind of the bare minimum for us to get there.
Yeah.
We're also adventuring into seeing how we can incorporate blockchain into our thing and see if we can have a blockchain for each document, like for families and stuff, and then have a separate one. So that it's kind of, honestly, I'm not that technically knowledgeable about that, but I am actually flying to San Francisco for ETH Global in a couple of days, and so over there, I'm hoping to meet some people who we can explore this avenue further with. So 100%, that's something we're considering.
So why did you choose to focus on families rather than like businesses and other sectors?
Right. That is actually a very good point as well. It's something that we definitely considered because B2B does have a lot of money. Like there's an insane market there. The thing is there's already a lot of existing solutions in that market.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we wanted to do is kind of fill a gap in the market that exists currently and also bring a meaningful impact to people's lives.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like going B2B while it is an option, this is something that I can, not only I would use myself, I do use myself, it's something that I can recommend freely to like friends and other people in my community, all of that. So it's really about making an impact and building something that is actually positive and meaningful to everyone around the world.
Interesting. So how would, because you said competitors in the B2B, there's got to be competitors in the consumer, in the family space too, right? let me list your competitors and say why you're better than them.
Okay, for sure. So off the rip, you might be thinking about, hey, like this guy's mentioning LIfomation. Why can I not just use Google Drive, or why can I not just use Dropbox or something like that? So the thing with platforms such as those is that they've had the same kind of file and folder structure that has existed for the past like 30 years, right? You create a folder, you name it whatever you want, and then you have like files listed underneath. It is very, it's very old, right? What we're coming up with is we have predefined categories. So, for example, health, government, taxes, insurance, warranties, education, everything that is important for you. We already pre-make those categories and subcategories within those, and then whenever you upload a document, it automatically gets categorized into one of these places. So, for example, if you upload, let's say, your high school transcript, right? What it's going to do is that block that into your education, into a school report. It's automatically going to find what year it is. It's going to take, let's say, the important fields in there are your marks for each subject, maybe your OEN number, maybe what school you went to. All of this information will readily be available for you. And now, because it's also a family platform, whenever your dad, let's say, wants to access your information, right? He's filling out his taxes or something. He wants to show that, hey, my son's going to UofT. All he has to do is type in, give me my son's school transcript from 2023, and boom, it pops up, and with all the relevant information already extracted for him to fill out his forms. And
I see.
Exactly.
So what's the technology that's able to do that? You're utilizing AI, obviously. What else is there?
So there's a couple aspects of it. It also depends on the features itself. So one big thing that we're doing is automating user onboarding. So the first time a user actually gets onto the platform, we want to make that process as seamless and friction-free as possible. So what that looks like is, let's say you sign up on LIfomation. We're going to prompt you, hey, what existing cloud services do you use? So maybe you're using Google Drive and WhatsApp, local storage, right? We'll get permission from you, of course. And then we will go through your existing cloud platforms, tag what is important, extract that information, automatically put it onto LIfomation, right? So then that kind of takes away the burden of you like going in, dragging and dropping files there, doing all of that. Now, what technology does that use? It uses a variety of them. There's OCR in there. We're using AWS libraries like Textract. There is natural language processing, of course, that goes into it in terms of actually understanding the content of the documents and then seeing, hey, which category does this actually fit into? So that's definitely part of it. But yeah, even for our search, right? Search, you need to understand kind of the contents of the documents itself. And so there's a lot of AI stuff that's being used there as well.
What's your business model? Like, are you subscription? Are you one-time payment? What is it? Like, how do you make money from this?
So our business model is, initially, we're going to have a free tier for everyone. We want everyone to give it a try, see if it's something that makes sense to you. And then if it is, and you think that it would be something that's valuable to your family, which I believe it's going to be valuable to every single family, then we're going to have a nominal monthly subscription that you can pay to access the service.
Okay, so a freemium model, pretty much.
Exactly, it's a freemium model.
I see. Interesting. There's a lot of companies doing that. So it's going to be monthly, you're saying, right?
Likely monthly, or we might even have an option for an annual subscription that might, it's a lower cost if you get it at once.
Do you feel like there's a lot of, because now everyone's moving to subscription-based, right? Has it ever crossed your mind that, like, everyone's paying so much monthly for so many apps that, like, putting on another one monthly, it might cause some, resistance. Do you feel like that or no?
Definitely. And so what we're kind of looking for are people who this would actually like benefit a lot. And so if you are someone who is like, you know what, I have a tight budget, I still want the features, that is why we have like the free tier, of course. And you are still able to utilize maybe 80-90% of our features. If you are someone who's like a power user and you want these extra 10% of features, then that is why, because a lot of these AI and stuff that we're running, like the servers and stuff, it is computationally expensive. And so we have to pay for that. And so we need to generate the revenue somehow. So
I see. So you said you went to California and you talk to investors. What was your experience like there?
100%. So this is on August 22nd.
Yeah.
I had an interview with Sequoia Capital. For the people who don't know, it's one of the, if not the largest venture capitalist firms in the world. So
Yeah.
they're the people behind Uber, Instagram, YouTube. You can name it, and they're behind them. And so we got a chance to interview there, and I flew out personally to San Francisco.
Your own money?
And yes, on my own
Wow.
money, the plane ticket, the hotel stay, all of that. And I'll tell you, I was very nervous for
That
the
is
interview, of course.
Huge risk, though.
It is.
Yeah.
The panel that I was presenting in front of as well, we had Jess Lee. She's a partner at Sequoia. She sold her company for $200 million.
Wow.
I presented in front of Rolf Botha. I think he was the ex-CFO with Elon Musk of PayPal. And so he worked with him for a couple of years. He's on the board of directors of like Instagram, a lot of different things. So anyways, I'm presenting in front of this panel of people, and I need to bring my A game, of course.
Yeah.
And so the preparation for that taught me so much.
Yeah.
It taught me so many things that I need to consider about the business. The amount of people that I've talked to, the amount of time I put in just like making sure that what I'm saying makes sense, doing all the research, because these people listen to like 100 pitches, 200 pitches. Like for them, it's not, exactly, it's not that much, right? So you really need to come with your A game and kind of give the best version of yourself as possible. Biggest thing I learned from that. So I actually stayed before the interview. I spent my day at Stanford because I had to check out of my hotel at like 10 a.m. My interview was at 2 p.m. And so I spent a couple hours at Stanford, and I went up and just talked to people there.
Yeah.
And what I noticed is that these guys are all extremely high achievers. Like what we'd probably consider top 5% here would be like the average person there.
Really?
So like PhDs from mechanical engineering, all of these people are very, very high achievers. And it really changed my perspective as to like what is actually possible. Like a lot of times we think of these people as not even like human, right? They're like, oh yeah, I mean, they did that. They must have had access to all this. But then when you go and meet these people, when I was sitting in a room with these people, I was like, wait, you know what? These are just humans like myself. Exactly. They have the same amount of time as me. And if they're able to do all this, there's no reason why I can't either. Right.
100%.
And so it really did like shift my perspective and give me the confidence to believe that, you know what, whatever I set my eyes on, I know I can achieve that.
Oh yeah, no, that's so powerful. I think I used to do YouTube a lot, and when I was in a group with like huge creators like Eric, and there's like a Zoom call with like Eric, Mr. Beast, and people like that. And so when I was sitting in that Zoom call, like, and they were just talking about like their problems and things like that, I was like it kind of humanizes it, because like when you think of them, you think of like, wow, these guys aren't even human, right? Like they're different, they're aliens. Like when you talk to them, you're like, okay, they're like one of us, but they just work hard. You know, they have a plan, they execute it, and they're at millions of subscribers. So it's amazing. So what was the issues that Sequoia presented with your startup, and what were the things that they liked about it?
So one of the things they liked was like our founder profiles themselves, as in like we've been people who are ambitious. Like I told you, I worked on MapleBit services with my mother, and I grew that to a very substantial amount. I also used to do a lot of math competitions when I was younger, and I placed, I think, 105th internationally in the IMO at one point. And so a lot of, they were pretty impressed by that initially. That's kind of why we got the interview. And then when we were there, they liked the problem that we were solving, in the sense that they recognized that, you know what, it is an issue that exists. One of the things, like, takeaways for me, and maybe it is something that, like, obviously in hindsight it is something that I should have prepared for, is we had a rough idea of how much funding we needed, but we didn't kind of break the metrics down exactly. And when they kind of pushed me on that, I wasn't able to give a very precise answer.
I see.
And so since it was like my first big, like, really interview with a VC, it was something that I wasn't really prepared for. But now in hindsight, it's a very good learning experience.
What was your rough estimate? Like, how much are you looking for?
So the ARC program that we applied for was anywhere, it ranged from $500 to $1,000 to $1 million. That's kind of their
$500,000
exactly to $1 million is where they invest, how much they invest.
Yeah.
And so when we came up with our numbers, I think there's a lot of stuff that we kind of didn't consider.
Yeah.
And so we like projected something like $200,000, $150,000. But afterwards, I kind of sat through the financials and I was like, you know what? And like, if this is something that we want to promote at an international level, like that amount of funding is something that we need anyways. So yeah.
I see. Interesting. And you're still looking for investors, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
100%.
how would if an investor is watching right now, how would they contact you?
100%. So if you're an investor watching, I'd say the best way to reach out to me is LinkedIn. My name's Adam, Adam, and the last name's Badar, Badar. You know, you should reach out to me on Instagram too.
Okay.
But yeah, probably LinkedIn's the best place.
Also, reach out just to our club and just let us know, and we'll get you guys connected. If you listen and you believe in the product, then you know we can make it happen, right? So, where do you see the company in 5 years? Like, and are there any sectors that you're looking to explore, branch out in?
So there's actually a lot of different paths that we can branch out into, and in my mind, I see LIfomation kind of like a tree, and we're at like the trunk, and then we're growing the leaves out right now, the branches, and so eventually down the line, I think we kind of want to partner with the government and be the place where, for example, you get a blood test done, right? People don't, like when you have to view that, it's like somewhere in your email, somewhere they might send it to your doctor. We want to be the platform where directly it's integrated with the government. They just send it over. So you get a blood test done, boom, it's on LIfomation. When you go to your doctor, they want to access it. They have access to LIfomation, like that specific category. They're able to view your past history, right?
Yeah.
That's one aspect of it, but taxes and stuff as well. So like partnering with the government, that's something 100% we want to do down the line. There's also just the vision of every family needs a platform to kind of have their information. So to be like LIfomation is that solution that every family is going to use, and it's in their hands. And whenever an emergency comes up, anything, they need these documents immediately. As long as they have LIfomation, there's nothing else that they have to worry about.
I see.
And so that's kind of the
I like how you put it that way. Like every single person is going to use it then, pretty much. So, I think that's about it. Do you feel like LIfomation will become $1 billion company?
I think we definitely have the potential to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, like 100% we do. Market size is there. Our team is very good. We're very dedicated. I'm very passionate about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I'm working hard on it. I don't see any reason why it would not be.
So it's super scalable. I can see potential in it. So what stage are you guys in right now? The beta's out or no?
So we did initially, you guys can check out LIfomation.com. That's still up and running. We launched an initial version of our app, LIfomation.tech, and that kind of had some of the AI features. That's down currently. We're revamping our thing. It should be out anytime next month.
Next month? Okay.
Next month, yeah, exactly. And so we're going to be doing initial beta testing on that.
Okay.
And kind of iterating from there. But yeah.
And you guys got an Instagram page or any?
We have LinkedIn, so you can
okay.
just search up LIfomation and we're on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. It was a pleasure having you, Adam.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yep. So this is our first episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and let me tell your suggestions. You know, I think we did a pretty good job. You know, first time. So let us know though. We really do appreciate your feedback.